Is it possible in the near future that we could erase our memories clinically with a chip or something in our brain, just like the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? You can do it now. Just ask someone to hit you hard with crowbar to your head. Should do the trick. Sniffing gasoline every day is also a great way to do so. I mean, I don't condone it, but they have stuff to do this. The chip is called 25 beers on a Saturday evening. Google optogenetic memory research. I just used tequila. Near future? Unlikely. You can do it now yourself. It is easy to change memories by whenever you recall them. You make slight change every time, and then that can overwrite the memory, and do it enough and memory changes. I bet we'll reach the chicken age where we will be disposable at a certain age for harvesting lol before going the spotless route. This would be the cure for PTSD. Fortune, fame, mirror, vain, gone insane. We can already lesion parts of the brain to get rid of memories. Just you'll probably lose all your memories. Don't forget that in Eternal Sunshine, the doctor straight up admits that the procedure technically is brain damage. No. Imagine you found an alien computer with no ports and no documentation and no understanding of the programming language, and you tried to delete a file. That's the human brain. We are nowhere close to decoding the human brain, let alone being able to selectively delete memories. How did you learn to become less judgmental? Practicing empathy and also questioning my snap reactions to things. Many of us will see something and instantly judge. But it's good to take a second to think about the other person's situation and wonder why they may act or look a certain way. Also, as others have said, judging yourself and others are often very linked, so stopping one will likely help with the other. Follow any mean comment I made in my head about someone with a positive or neutral one. Like, if I caught myself being needlessly mean about someone's hairstyle, for example, I'd counter it by thinking, but they put effort into it and I admire that because I can be lazy with mine and quat. It totally changed the way I see things. I also like trying to think of the most sympathetic reasons someone could do something. Like if they push me out of the way to get on the tram. Maybe they have issues standing for a while and are desperate to sit down. It encourages me to be more tolerant to things that piss me off. And it makes me laugh sometimes to try to imagine outlandish reasons for other people's behavior. I try to understand where someone might be coming from. For example, the people who post endless selfies and exceedingly happy social media might just be trying to avoid giving a hater validation of seeing them miserable. People who are hateful might have dealt with trauma in the wrong way. People who are abusive may have been abused. That a-hole that almost ran me off the road tailgating might have had a medical emergency. You just never know. So I like to think of what might have been a justified motivator. Versus just saying that's a jerk. Sometimes I'm wrong and they just are. But I wait for confirmation before passing judgment. Serious, what is a hard truth that people don't want to hear but actually need to? Your ADHD/autism/bipolar/insert any neurodivergent or mental problem here doesn't give you the right to be a piece of shit or act like everyone has to cater to your every whim. Coming from someone with a long list of mental health problems. Een waarkliker conflict met der collectieve norm instead nu dan. Van een individueller weg zur norm oben wird. Was die eigentliche Absicht des extremen Individualismus ist. Diese Absicht ist natürlich pathologisch und durchaus lebenswidrig. Carl Jung. A real conflict with the collective norm arises only when an individual path is elevated to the norm. Which is the very intention of extreme individualism. This intention is of course pathological and quite anti-life. The best way to get ahead in any organization is to be a charming and enthusiastic yes man who quietly takes credit for others' work while blaming others for your failures. A person who focuses on charming the two-up boss. You can be mediocre and even weak in outcomes, competence, diligence, expertise and intelligence, but if you are a charming yes man you will be considered a high potential talent who can do anything. I've seen it several times. In other words, there is a talent for getting promoted that is only loosely connected toddy talent required to do the job well. If an adult's life is going poorly, they almost certainly made a series of mistakes that led them there. Everyone makes mistakes. And there's no shame in making one-off mistakes. But by ignoring the reality that you did not play a perfect game, no one ever does. It is impossible. You will never learn what your mistakes were. And will thus repeat those mistakes forever. And hold yourself back from doing better. You have some responsibility for doing that to yourself. What the hell happened to society that everybody is offended on everybody's behalf? I was interested in offering legitimate discourse. But after reading, I see you're clearly just here to condemn young people for any small thing that inconveniences you. Everyone can see that the only ones offended by the Andrew Tate thing are his misguided fanboys. But you're unfairly extrapolating that situation to the state of the whole world. Maybe one day there will be valuable discourse to be had on Reddit. And not just mindless blather. I've been hearing this kids are so sensitive these days blah 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 for decades ha 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 ha. How do people keep falling for this generational/culture war BS every decade? Every time there's a little cultural shift there are people that start bitching and moaning about how this new generation is weak and what happened to the good old days. If all you are seeing is people getting easily offended, maybe you're hanging out with the wrong people. Have a negative mindset. Are consuming shitty social media. Or perhaps you are easily offended by people who get easily offended. Maybe you are a very controlling person and just can't handle change. Whatever it is, if you change your behavior you'll see a difference everywhere else. This is not to protect the insulted. but others who might be silently shamed by the insult or joke. For instance, most blondes won't be insulted by dumb blonde jokes. But there may be someone who is already deeply questioning their value as human who happens to be blonde. And this joke is just another brick in the wall for them. It's taking sensitivity to a new level that some people are uncomfortable with. We are being asked to think in a more global way and to assume that everyone may not have the same tough skin. Or to ask why people should have to have such tough skin in the first place when we could just insult each other less in the first place.